Hello, kindergarten class. This is your last video today. You guys have done so good all day. Super proud of you guys. It's hard to watch videos all day and you are doing so good. All right, so we're gonna do our science. We haven't done science yet, so this is your first time. We're gonna do science. We're gonna go through this book. It's about all the land animals that God made on the sixth day of creation. Remember, we talked about that in our Bible lesson, how God made on the sixth day. This is the number 6, 5, 6. Sixth day, he made all the animals that walk on the land, okay? So we are going to learn about those animals in our science lessons, okay? So I'm just going to read this, and I will stop to show you guys the pictures, if there's pictures. And you can get nice and comfy. You can sit on the couch. You can lay on a pillow. You can sit crisscross applesauce. We're just using our listening ears for this video, okay? So listen and think, and I will stop to show you the pictures if there's pictures, all right? Okay, so we're going to read from Genesis 1, 24 through 25 in the Bible. Remember, it says, "And God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good." So let's read that sentence in bold again. There's a sentence in bold that says, God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. It separates the creatures that God created into 3 groups. So there's 3 groups we're going to learn about. 1, the wild animals. 2, the livestock. And 3, the creatures that move along the ground. So we're going to learn what all those words mean. So do you know what livestock are? We're going to talk about livestock first. So livestock are the animals that we own, that we care for, that we use for food, or to help us with our chores. Can you think of some examples of what livestock are? So maybe some pets, maybe some cows, because we get milk from cows. Maybe chickens, because we get eggs from chickens. Let's see, this one says horses, donkeys, oxen, sheep, cattle, and pigs. Isn't it interesting to think that God actually created animals to help us? Horses and donkeys can help us by carrying our things from place to place. They can also help us by pulling plows as we plant crops. Oxen are used for that as well, and sheep give us wool for clothing. Cattle are eaten and milked. Pigs are also eaten. In some countries, camels help people with their work and carry them from place to place. So we'll get to study some camels when we study livestock. Can you think of one thing that all these animals have in common? There's one thing. They all have hooves. Animals with hooves are called ungulates. Can you say that? It's kind of hard. Ungulates. In the livestock section, we'll study every ungulate, even though some of them aren't really livestock. So ungulates have hooves, okay? So, we have our fingers, but it's kind of attached like this. So they kind of look like this. They have one big toe and they walk around on those like this. See if you can do it. They kind of look like this. All right, so say that again. Ungulates. Ungulates have hooves, right? Of course, we'll also study animals that aren't... Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to show you the picture. So there's a picture of some cows right here. If you can see that. Cows and a little baby cow right there. Of course, we'll also study animals that aren't livestock. The Bible calls them wild animals and creatures that move along the ground. What do you think of when someone says a wild animal? Maybe lions or tigers or bears. These animals, of course, are not usually kept to help us with our work, huh? Most of them don't make good pets either. There are some people that have lions as pets, but they just stay in a cage because they're crazy, huh? Let's see. All right, let's move on to, I lost my page. Oh, here we go. We have a, this is a picture of an ocelot. It's kind of like a cheetah. Let's see if you can see it. An ocelot. It's kind of like a cheetah, so that's an example of a wild animal. So those are the ones that we don't keep as pets, and they can't really help us that much. They're pretty crazy. They live in the wild, and maybe sometimes they're at the zoo. Sometimes we can see them at the zoo. But for the most part, they live in the wild. All right, so do you know what I mean when I say an animal comes from another kind of animal? Well, if you look back at that Bible verse we read a little bit ago, you'll see that God said that animals reproduce after their own kind. That word kind is very important. You see, there are many different species of animals, but not nearly as many kinds of animals. So think of a cat, okay? So a cat is a kind, all right? But there's lots of different species of a cat. So we have calico cats and Siamese cats. We have orange cats and white cats. There's so many different kinds of cats. So those are called species, but it's not a different cat, right? It's still a kitty cat. If my kitty is, she is brown and black, and then she has a little bit of orange on her too. And my friend, her kitty is white. Okay, but both of them are cats, right? So they're both the same kind of animal, but they're maybe a different species because they're different colors. Okay, does that make sense? Those are some big words. You guys are super smart. So, in other words, God created each kind of animal, and then he created them with the ability to adapt and change over time. So that's why we have different colors and different types of animals. So then when the Bible mentions creatures that creep and crawl, it's most likely talking about reptiles. Can you think of a reptile? Those are the ones I don't really like. Those are snakes and lizards and frogs and yuck. I don't like those. Any worm-like creature that moves along the ground, those are the creatures that creep. Okay? Those also include dinosaurs too, which is pretty cool. All right. I think we're gonna stop. I'm sorry. Here's the picture of the creeper crawly. This is a green anole. I think I'm saying that right. It's a green anole. It's right there. It's kind of like a lizard or a salamander. And yeah, that's an example of what the Bible calls a creature that creeps on the ground. So remember, we have livestock, we have wild animals, and then we have creatures that creep along the ground, okay? So which one are livestock? Do you remember? Those are the ones that help us with our work, okay? And then do you remember what's a wild animal? Those are like the lions or the ones that we can't keep as pets. And if we want to see them, we have to see them in the zoo. And then the last one is the creatures that creep and crawl on the ground. And they're kind of yucky. I don't really like them. Maybe you think that they're cool. I don't like those. But those are like lizards and snakes and even dinosaurs, which we'll talk about. Okay, so that's the end of our science lesson. And you guys should be all done for today. You did so awesome. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you online tomorrow.